Hello and welcome to Outlook for Mac. You can find all the resources that you need at the cc.page/Mac Outlook, as you see at the bottom of the screen there. I am Jen Giffen, and I'm going to, before I start, throw it over to my partner in education here, Cami. Cami, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell people what you're going to be doing.
My name is Cami Cannikins, and I'm coming to you from Alberta today, where I'm an instructional technology coach, and my job today is going to be with you in the chat. So if you have questions, you can start by putting them in the chat. I'll do my best to answer them. I will be putting links in there and any other information that you need. If we need to stop Jen and ask a question, we will do that. So my job is to be with you in the chat and answer your questions over there.
Awesome. Thank you, Cami. It's an invaluable sort of resource to have. Wouldn't it be lovely back when we were all teaching online, or maybe you're still doing some teaching online, to have that person in the chat answering questions and throwing in links and such? It would really have been wonderful. And my name is Jen Giffen. I am coming to you from Richmond Hill, Ontario, which is the Williams Treaty land. I'm a teacher librarian in the York Region District School Board. And today, before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the land that we're on. While we're all learning together from different places, I do affirm that we are all treaty people. I acknowledge that I am located on the lands of two treaties. These treaties have been signed by the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and the First Nations of the Williams Treaty, who are the Mississaugas of Alderville. They are Curve Lake, Hiawatha, Scugog Island, and the Chippewas of Beausoleil, Rama, and Georgina Island. Lots of great First Nation partners around here. To honor the agreement, we will respect our relationship with these lands and recognize that our connection to the land is through continued relationships with these First Nations. We acknowledge it's our shared responsibility to respect and care for the land and waters for future generation. And as always, if you're wondering about the land you're on, or maybe the land you're visiting, that link down there, native-land.ca, is a wealth of information. It's great for inquiry with students, and it's really great for just exploration yourself. And they're adding more and more information as we go. I actually just went on there for the first time in a few months last week, and I noticed that they have a whole bunch of Europe mapped out now that they didn't have before. So it's not just North America, like if you haven't been there for a while, that it may have been then. We are coming to you on behalf of the Cobblestone Collective. The Cobblestone Collective, you can find out all about them at cobblstonecollective.ca. But they're an agency that really does professional development like this in partnership with educators who are looking to sort of level up, if you will, their skills. Cami and I are both practicing teachers in our respective provinces, and we work as contractors for them. So if you're interested in running some kind of PD, be it virtual or live, please go and check out the Cobblestone Collective .ca for more information. Okay, we are here today to talk about Outlook for Mac. So thank you very much to Microsoft for the funding for today's workshop. When this sort of came about with Cobblestone, what we decided was like, okay, we want to do some Outlook sessions. What do you think? And I put in our chat, we have a Slack channel, and I said, you know, I use it on the Mac, so I can't really do this. And all of a sudden we were like, oh, hold on, there's probably a bunch of people who use it on the Mac. And it does look very different. In fact, Cami is running a session tomorrow. Cami, is it?
Tomorrow, yeah, same time.
Yeah, tomorrow, same time, same bat channel, same bat place, as they say. Look, I even have like a little bat. Look at this little Batman. Isn't she cute? We call her Mommy Batman. Look, she has red hair like me. So she's running one tomorrow on what Outlook looks like online. So for those of you who are using online, that's great. Go see Cami tomorrow. But for people who use it on a Mac and then the standalone Outlook for Mac, it actually looks quite different. And I know when I was starting and coming from a Windows environment, or when I help people in a Windows environment, I'm like, oh, this is not what it looks like. So we thought, you know what, let's put something little together so that we can show people how Outlook looks on a Mac. So here's my ambitious plan. We're going to go over a whole bunch of stuff for email. So composing emails, fonts, dictating, signatures, things like that. We're going to do some folders, how to search. In fact, the searching was something that I learned. I knew how to search, but I found this like other little feature and why I could never find what I wanted in preparing this presentation. So that was really exciting. We're going to talk about flags for follow-up, rules, conversations, out of office, that sort of thing. And then we're going to move on, because Outlook isn't just about email. It's also about contacts and characters. And then I love me a good keyboard shortcut. So I have a whole list of them at the very end of this slide deck. I'm not going to like show you all of them, but I'm going to put them on screen, and then you'll have, of course, this resource for your perusal at a later time should you want, but they're all there. And I've actually added some of them to my repertoire and learning about all of them. So the beautiful thing about working for Cobblestone too is you have to really dig deep for things and you learn yourself. I love that, right, Kevin? This is something that I really love. So let's get things started. We are going to jump first into email. All right, so the first thing you're going to do is learn how to compose an email. Now, like with many, many different programs, there are 3 ways that you can compose an email in Outlook for Mac. So I'm going to flip over quickly to my Outlook for Mac stuff here. Here we go. This is what your Outlook will look like on a Mac. Now, there is a newer version, apparently. I tried to download it. It said everything was up to date. It shows I'm the most recent, but some screenshots looked a bit different with what I saw online. So if yours looks slightly different, don't worry. All the basic features are the same. And this is really sort of a ground floor entry to that. There's probably some level up stuff. Things like you see up here where it says get add-ons. That is something I'm not going to get into, but there's other like little features that you might want to explore. At any rate, I digress. Let's talk about writing an email. So there's 3 things that you can do. The first thing you can do is you can come up to the top here and click File and go to New and choose Email. Okay, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. The other thing you can do, and this is my method of choice, is come over here to where it says New Email. There's a little icon there on the top left-hand side. So I can click that and it will open in a moment when it's not laggy. There we go. A new email for me. Excellent. There you go. Now, the last way, and this is my other way, because again, I love the keyboard shortcuts, is you can hit Command. That's the one right beside the space bar and the letter N. And that opens up a new email for you to compose right away. 3 really easy ways. You can use all of them. You can use one. There's no right way. It's just, I always call that the Jack and Jill bathroom, right? 3 ways into the same place. And there they are right there for you on screen. You'll notice I'm not presenting full screen. That's on purpose. I'm going to be flipping back and forth, and it just saves those little nanoseconds to be able to, instead of coming out of the PowerPoint and going back in. So that's why I have this on the side there. So the other thing that you might want to look at is your email styles. Okay, you can make your email you by customizing things like fonts. I really love to do this. In fact, I had a student once say, "Miss, I love that font in your emails. How do you do that?" I taught her actually how to change emails in her own. And I have colleagues that say this all the time, because there's something about just getting everything in Arial that, doesn't really float my boat, so to speak, right? It's just not my thing. So in order to do this, you're going to head up to where it says Outlook at the top there. It's going to be beside your little Apple icon. You're going to click there and you're going to go into Preferences. And I use this a lot. You'll notice as well, it could be Command and comma can get you into that. So I'm going to hit Preferences. And from there, you are going to choose Fonts, which is right over here. Okay, it's the 2 little A's, as you can see. So I'm going to go in there. And at this point, you can choose what your email is going to look like, new emails or replies or forwards, when things come in. You can also choose the size of your display text. So I can do that to make it larger or smaller. See, everything just grew and shrunk there. So if I click new email and I click font, it will show me in a moment. Right, this is my Mac doesn't have a whole lot of RAM, so when I run Teams in the background, sometimes it takes a hot minute. So I have everything Calibri because I think Calibri is really pretty. But if I use this drop down, I could pick any kind of font I want. Anything that's installed on my computer is there for my liking. I can also change the style to always like regular italics, and I can change my size as well. And then of course I have all these other different options. I can do all small caps or all caps. I don't want to write all in all caps though, because then everyone thinks you're yelling at them. And then as soon as you've changed something, you hit OK. And then lo and behold, the next time you go to compose an email, your font will be saved, and then it's a little bit more you. So I love this if you have a sort of little tone you want to set, right? If you are an elementary teacher and that, Comic Sans is your jam, maybe you want to change that. And you can also change from email to email. Now, again, once you're in an email and I'm composing it, I can change in there as well from line to line, but this is the default so that when you go in, it always looks the same. Something that I like, something that's not really necessary to do, but it's sort of one of those, like, it would be nice to do it. So I'm going to give everyone a minute or two to go in and try that out. Okay, go to your, where it says Outlook at the top. You're going to go into Preferences, and then you're going to choose Fonts and fiddle around and see that indeed you can change your font. How's that sound, Cami?
Sounds good. It is easier to do it on the Mac than by the web.
Yeah, it definitely is. I find that a lot of things on the Mac standalone just make a lot of sense to me when I'm doing things. Same with signatures, which we're actually going to get into shortly. Although my favorite big tip is my next tip about dictating. But with signatures, same thing. Like it's sort of buried a little bit and convoluted, and I can't always fit everything I want. Whereas in the standalone Mac Outlook, I can get everything I want in for my signature. So that's good. Hopefully by now you've been able to play with your styles a little bit there, and you've been changing your fonts. Remember, again, that's just the default font. If you want to change a font within the email itself, you can. This is just what will pop up every time you go to compose. Okay, moving right along. You can also dictate your emails. Now, I love this. I don't know about you, but I have an iPhone, and Siri might be my best friend. She's not the best listener in my life because she doesn't always type what I want her to say, especially for some reason in the new update, but I digress. If your mind, like me, works faster than your fingers, then dictating emails might be the way to go. In order to do this, and this actually works on the Mac for most applications, not just Outlook, but I stumbled on it about 3 years ago in Outlook, which is why I like to share it in this session. You can double click the FN key, and that's at the bottom left-hand side of your keyboard. You have an FN key, and that icon there that you see with the microphone will turn up, and then you can just speak your emails. Well, what does this mean? Let me show you. I'm going to come in. I am going to compose a new email. I'm going to put my cursor where I want to start, and then you might hear me tap 2 times that FN key. It's going to come up in a second. Hi there, Cami. I hope you're having a great day at work, and I look forward to seeing you soon! Exclamation mark. And I click done. Oh, it might, great. And it got most of it. There we go. And the only thing is like, oh, it wasn't too bad off, Cami. Cami, that's not bad for your name, huh? Hi there, Cami. I hope you're having a great day. And then I can just go back and, you know, add in any punctuation. You can also use punctuation. You can say, just like in any voice to text, you can add your, you know, commas, your periods, whatever it happens to be. But I'll tell you, isn't it annoying as teachers when you're trying to voice text something and you're saying, oh, I'll see you in period 3 today. And it says like period and then the number 3, and then you have to go back. And oh, it's just, that's a big thing for me. I don't like it at any rate. Like I said, double tapping that FN key can really help you with dictating your emails, should that be something that you want to do. So I'm going to invite you to give that a try, okay? Dictate an email and send it to me. My email is jen@virtualgift.com. You can try that out and see if indeed it works well for you or not. It's something I love. I'm actually going to try to be quiet for a whole minute so that you can dictate and your computer doesn't dictate what I'm saying. So it's going to be weird. We're going to be quiet. All right, that should probably give people some time to do that. Hopefully you're able to see the benefits of that. Like I said, it's something that I love to do because sometimes when I have something on my mind, I just want to get it all out there. I can get it all in and then I can go back and fix it afterwards. Whereas if I try to type it all and I'm fixing my mistakes as I go, I lose my train of thought. I don't know about the rest of you, but for me, like that double tapping that FN key is amazing. Okay, the next thing that you might want to do is set up a signature. And of course, we like to have signatures on our emails because we might want to like say who we are and where we're from and this. So, you know, this is the sort of thing that we want to do. Now, the one thing I love about Outlook, and this comes in with a lot of different email clients, is that you can change your signature depending on depending on why you're sending it. So for example, I might send from my work email as, the head of library, but I might other times send as a member of our transition committee. I might send other times as the staff advisor for a chess club. I might have a few different reasons I want to send emails out and have different signatures, so I don't have to have it all listed there at the bottom, right? This is not something that necessarily I want to do. So how do I do that? Again, I'm going to go back in here and I am going to decide to go into Outlook and Preferences, or Command, comma, if you want to do it that way. And then you're going to choose Signatures, and that's in that second row there, and it's the third icon over. So I can click that. And it will ask if you want to include signatures. So you'll see here I have my regular one with, my name, my pronouns, my position, my link to my social media. I have a booking form, and I always put what I'm currently reading, because as a librarian, I think that's really cool. And then I put a link to where you can find the book. I do Goodreads, so you can see it. And it actually creates a lot of talk amongst people that I've read that book. And so I don't know, that's what I include. The other thing that I have is I have like this untitled one that I created as just an example here. I'm gonna, oh, sorry about that. I just clicked in the wrong spot here. I think I can make this a bit bigger. Oh, maybe not. I put one with my picture in it because maybe you want to include that. This is all different things that you can do as well. And then I have my badges underneath there that I have for different accreditations. So in order to create your own, you can come and push this plus sign. And then I'm going to say, okay. And it's going to automatically put, in my case, it's my name. So I might just say, again, I might say Jen Giffen, chess club advisor, and then I might want to add a little icon of sorts. Let's see if it's going to let me do it. Oh, yeah, there it is. In order to pick that up, by the way, Control, Command, and Spacebar will bring up your character viewer, and you can put in whatever character you want. So I'm going to put in chess and see what happens. Oh, there we go. So I'm going to maybe put a little, maybe the knight, or maybe the king. I think I'm just going to put a little pawn. I like the pawn there. No, yeah, okay, put the pawn. And I can put that. I can close it off, and then I can say Richmond Hill HS. Now you'll notice that in doing that, it flipped around my my font. So I might want to go back and change this so it's all, sort of the same. I might want to make this so it's more like cursive. So I might choose like this. Maybe I want to make that a little bit bigger. I can do all of these sorts of things. Maybe I'm going to put this in a different color. So I'll do this in like a blue. We're going to go there. And then I'm going to call this one chess. And I can save it by clicking the little disc, right? And some of us are old enough to remember when we actually had those discs. I'm going to save it there and then close it up. And, oh, sorry, save it. Yep, I want to save. And there it goes. So now if I ever want to use this, the account is going to be from my account. If you have multiple accounts, you can choose. And my new message is always going to default to the teacher librarian one. But if I go in, I'm going to see if I remember, because I don't actually do this often, but I think I can go into here. I'm going to go into composing. Oh, come on. There we go. And yep, you can right up here in your composing window, you can choose which of your signatures you'd like. So if I'm sending something for chess, I can just choose chess, and it should in a second. Think about it, and it's going to flip over to my chess signature for me. I do apologize about the lag. Teams,
and I think, Jen, it will let you set your default as well, right? So if you wanted to change your default, maybe in the summer or another time, you can change your default in there too.
Absolutely, yeah, it can. And I'll show that actually here. So the new messages here, it says like all of my new messages will be from this one, and that's the default, and all of your replies, you can do it as well. And this is also pretty cool if you've already sent it once and you're replying going back and forth and you don't want that signature on every single time, that you're just going to sign off your name. You could also turn that off so the signature is not there, so we don't have this like big long thread to read through if it's going to be a long threaded email exchange. And I like that as well, although I keep mine on. But there you go. See, there's Jen Giffen. I might actually keep this one on there because I do have a couple chess events coming up. That's how you do that. I'm going to just discard this one here and we'll go back. So like I said, in order to do that, you just make sure you go up along all of the icons in the top when you're composing a new email, and you can toggle around there. So I will give you a minute to create your own signature. At this point, if you're following along at home, you might want to pause the video and give that a try. Create a signature or two, set your default, and so that you have that all set up for when you send out your emails. Moving along, I'm going to talk now about folders. I love folders. If you actually look in my my email itself, I find it a really great way to organize my email and to find things really quickly. In order to create a folder, you're going to choose where you want to nest it. So you might have your, I'm going to show you, I'm going to go into it. So you have your main account here. So you'll see over on the side here, you have all your accounts. I only have one in here. And if I want to create some folders, if I want to add it here to Jen Giffen, if I, let's say, want to create a new folder, I've right clicked and I've got a new folder, and I might call this like cobblestone. Okay, I'm going to create a cobblestone, and there it is. It just falls underneath my main, I have a lot of folders. It falls underneath my main account. Now I could also, I'm going to get rid of this one now. I'm going to, let's say if I want to put it inside, Cobblestone is on my PD. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to find the one that says personal PD, and maybe I'm going to create it there. So in that case, I would click that folder. Oops, sorry. I would click this folder, right click it, and then a new folder here. And I would again say Cobblestone. I'm clicking too quickly. There we go. Oh, it's an untitled one now. Okay, sorry, bear with me one second here, folks. I'm going to rename it. Again, just right click, and that's how I'm finding all of these options. I'm going to rename it to Cobblestone. And there it is, Cobblestone. I can now find here. If I wanted to make that a favorite, I'm like, oh, I have a lot coming in from Cobblestone lately, and I want to have quick access. I can click this star, and it actually then comes up here at the very top, very, very top on that left-hand side. I have it now in as one of my favorites. That's really good. I put things in my favorite if it's something that a project that I'm working on, because I have folders for all the different projects. I put my folders there in under favorites, so I have quick access, so I don't have to scroll down like you saw to try to find something really quickly. And then you can unstar it when you're done. I think that's a really cool way to access your information. I also find it a really good way when you're searching, and we're going to get to that actually for right now. So let's say I'm searching for an email from yesterday. I was doing some stuff we have EQAO here in Ontario, and we're writing our literacy test. And I was looking for something from one of my vice principals here, Tamara Gord. So I said, okay, I want something from her. Now I used to search, friends. The default is it will go here. Look there on the side, current folder only. And I could never find it. So I'd have to think, okay, what folder did I put that in? Is it here? And I'd go all over the place. In preparing for this, I don't know why I never noticed before. I was like, there's got to be a way. And all of a sudden, I noticed as soon as I typed up in that right-hand side search field someone's name or a keyword, a new bar appeared. I didn't notice that it went from this home, see what that looks like, to this search. Why? I have no idea. Maybe because I'm always in a hurry when I do an email. But what you can do, instead of searching that folder, you can search all your mailboxes. And now you see I have tons of stuff from her, not just stuff inside that folder. So you want to make sure if you're searching like the whole of your email, that you search that you click that all mailboxes. But if you want to just like dig into the current folder you're in, you can also just do that. So I know that she's an administrator, for example. So if I go into my Richmond Hill stuff and I type admin, it will yield for her. If I say Tamara Gord, it will only pull things from her in that folder itself. So it's a really good way to be able to find your emails in a pinch and sort of maximize things. Because how often do we have things where we're like, oh my gosh, I know I have an email about that, but I don't know where it went. And how am I going to find it? That search function is really key. So there you go. That's how you do it. It's there. Make sure you turn around. You can, search those filters. The other thing that you can do is on the bar there, remember I said, how did I never notice that it's changed? You can also use advanced features on that. So you can search who it's from, you can search the subject, you can search the body of an actual email. So you're like, I know it said something about this, here are the keywords, but I forget who sent it, and I forget where I filed it. This is another thing you can do. Those advanced features are really, I think back to even 5 or 10 years ago, how we would have to go and find things, and how much easier it is now for us to sort through all of our electronic correspondence. The other thing that you might want to do is flag for follow-up. So you can flag email messages to remind yourself to follow up or take action at a later time. Now, I've always done the flagging for things that were very important so that if I quickly looked into a folder, I could scroll down and be like, okay, I know I have this one. So it's sort of like my starred system or saving it as a favorite. I'd look down. Lo and behold, again, in searching for this, I discovered that not only when you flag it is it the visual, but also, this is actually really cool, anything that I flag. So let's say this here, okay, I want to double my action on for Common Sense on Giving Tuesday. If I flag this, not only does it become flagged wherever I put it, but it also shows up here. At the bottom of that panel on the left-hand side, you have a little clipboard with a check mark, and those are tasks. So if I go in here, it will show me everything that I've flagged because it becomes a task for me. And I'm like, what? Are you kidding? Here it is right here. And you can make a due date for it. And sure enough, these are things that I have to follow up on. So I have a folder in my inbox that I call coming up or awaiting or something like that. And now I've started to realize like, I am not using this feature enough. I need to start flagging more because that does it for me. And I'll be able to like sort through a lot faster. So those flags for follow-up can be really key. You'll also notice if you, when you flag something, you can put a date on it. So you can say, I want to follow this up today or tomorrow, next week. You can customize it. You can add reminders. So those little pop-ups come up for you. And then you can mark them as complete. So they're all here. This is great. This is how I also set these reminders. It's a really great way to stay on top of your email, but get to that elusive inbox zero, which I love. I inbox zero virtually every day. And this is a way to make sure, okay, it's out of my inbox because I don't have to do anything with it, but I will be able to follow it up later. I think it's cool. Do you use flags, Cami?
Well, I do quite in the same way as you. And so I also like, oh, it goes to tasks, which I tend not to use as much on the Microsoft side. But what the other thing that I forgot was that you can actually, so where you have like the garbage can and the flag on your slide there, you can actually change what appears in that shortcut bar. So if you wanted to add like archive or you wanted to add, you can, at least in the web version, I think you can do it here. If you go into your settings, you can choose what you get as the little pieces on there.
That's very cool.
On
trying to look. Okay, maybe this is not the time to do it, but that's cool. Yeah. There's your homework, folks. Try to find out. That is new learning for me. And again, another reason why I love having a moderator who can teach you things as you're presenting. That's fantastic. Okay. So what I invite everyone to do right now is flag an email. Go into your inbox or go into any of your emails if it's in your inbox or otherwise, flag it and see that it does show up on that task and think about different ways you can maybe give that a try. We'll invite you now to pause the recording and you can give that a try. For those people who are here, if you want to play on that while we go on to the next item, you're welcome to do so, of course. So the next thing you might want to do is organize by conversation. So Cami, let's have, I feel like this is a GIF debate, right? Like I'm 100% team GIF because I am Giffen. I'm not Gen Giffen, I'm Jen Giffen. But I feel like threaded conversations and organizing your emails by conversation or not it can be quite divisive. So maybe we'll show them first what it looks like. And I don't even know that I can because I have them off. So spoiler alert, you know where I stand with this. What you go into is you go into organize and all you need to do is push this conversations. Now, if I had any of these in my inbox that were along the same thread, meaning, okay, this replied and this replied, instead of being all here stacked one on top of another, it would give us a thread underneath so I can follow that conversation. I prefer to see them come in real time. I think it might be an age thing because that's how I learned email. So that's why I continue. Cami, you and I are of the same ilk. Are you a conversation threader?
I've turned off threads because if there's a busy conversation, I realize that I missed something, right? Like it's all of a sudden, like I read, like you see the one that's most recent and that's like, oh, there were 7 other parts and no wonder I don't understand what's going on because there were, so I'm definitely unthread. What I did find is that in the web version, that's hard. Yeah. That's a tricky thing to find. So
yes,
that's a little trickier to find, but I'm definitely no to thread.
Okay, I'm also no to thread. And that was a really, there we go, and GIF, yes. I think that's a really good like promo too for you tomorrow. If you are using the web-based and or the Mac, if you're using both, it's worth going to see Cami tomorrow so she can show you all these cool things that we can do on the Mac. If you ever don't have your computer, that happens to me like twice a year. I forget my computer at home. It's just a busy morning and I have to use another computer at school. So I'm on the web version and I'm like, how do I do this on this? Because I don't remember. So it's certainly good to know how to use our email services on a few different platforms in case we ever have that challenge, we will say. Okay, what is next? We are going to move on from conversations and talk about out of office. Out of office is also a pretty easy thing to do. To access your out of office, you're just going to go to tools on the toolbar. So home, organized tools. We just saw organized when we did the threaded conversations. And you're just going to choose out of office. Pretty simple. So again, tools up here at the top. And we're going to choose out of office. And it will pop up. And what I like about this is it allows you to automatically send replies from, this is how you turn it on, right? I'm going to click, say, yeah, let's turn it on. But I also can send them only inside or outside. Why do I love this? Because if I'm just taking a day off and someone might think, let's say this Friday, I'm going on a field trip, for example. So I might turn my out of office replies on for people in my building who might be expecting me to give an automatic response pretty quickly because I'm pretty on the ball with my email and replying in the day. But then I might turn it off. So click here for anyone outside because, the social graces allow 24 working like business hours to reply to an email. So I might get it by the end of the day, come, back to school after the field trip and answer the emails that came in. So you can set them up for both. Summertime, for example, winter break, March break, whatever, spring break, whatever it happens to be. But you can turn it off for some and then just click and unclick. I love that. And I also love that I can say, okay, start sending it here and there. So I might set this up like the Wednesday before winter break so that I don't forget, because we all know Wednesday after winter break, I'm spending hours after school crying and saying goodbye to my students before I can see them for two. That's not true. That's not true. No one does that. No one does that. I'm out of there and I don't want to forget to do that and then have someone, try to get in touch with me and not realize that I'm already gone. So you can set those. And also remembering, I guess more so, to turn them back, to turn it off. So it's not like, Thursday after a break and people are like, what are they still doing on vacation when you're actually in the office working hard as we do.
That's probably the handier part is the turn back on, right? Like you remember sometimes when you're going, but it's like, wow, I've gotten no emails. Oh, I still have my out of office.
Oh, right. I didn't do that. Oops, oopsie daisies. Okie dokie. Moving right along. Like I said here, you can customize it. This is all, if you're finding I'm going quickly and you're live, or if even in the recording, all of this is in that slide deck. We build them purposely here at Cobblestone to include a lot of screenshots and stuff to make it easier for you to follow along on your own or after the fact. So make sure you use that. Rules are another really cool thing that I used to actually use a fair bit. I've stopped now, but I think there's definitely something to be said for them, for teachers, especially if we're getting a lot of emails, right? So it's an action that Outlook automatically performs on either sent mail or received messages based on a condition that you specify. So moving all of your messages from a specific person into a folder. So I might set one up for my principal. I might have an email, like a folder in my email specifically for my principal. Anything comes in from Deb, I'm putting it into the Debbie folder. Anything comes in from Martin, the technician I work with in our library learning commons, it goes into LLC staff. In order to do these, you just go to Outlook, always Outlook preferences, that the command and the comma, and then you're going to go to rules. So I'm going to do the command comma in this case. I've been doing it all up there. And I can choose to come to rules, which is right here, second row beside where we were at with signatures. I'm going to click that and you will see that I have certain rules that have been set up. So the subject contains EDB digest for Ms. Giffen. So we use EDSB in my district and they would give a daily digest, which is great, but I don't want to read them every day. So automatically, I'm going to click this one to show you what happens when that comes in. I delete it because I don't need my daily digest because I'm in EDSB all the time doing that. To create one of these rules, again, you're just going to go to the plus sign like we did with the with signatures. I'm going to add a rule and you'll see, I'm going to call it a rule, the name. I can choose that, like if the subject is this, if it has attachments, if it's a priority, if it's, has this header, whatever I want to do. And I can say is, or I can also say contains, so a direct match or containing. And then I can say, here's what I want you to do. I want you to copy it. I want you to forward it. I want you to redirect it. I want you to mark it automatically as read. Maybe that, and that's another one that I've used a lot, that, okay, I don't need the badge. I want to go back to it. I want to know it's there, but I don't need the badge reminding me, because that pulls me away from other work. And then I want to then from, I'm going to do one of these. So do the following, move to folder. So I might say just delete. I could say forward to, and I could put in an address. Except if is another thing, except if there's this. So we can get really nuanced in the way we create these rules. And then you can enable it. You can also notice this, enable, disable. So if I could create a rule and then disable it for a time being. So I might be like, okay, for the next 2 weeks, I just want all of this to be marked unread because I'm going to be active in this. But in a few weeks from now, when I'm not active with this subject line, for example, I might want to know about that. So I'm going to enable this rule so that it happens, right? These are different things we can do. And that's how we enable rules. Very helpful to keep on top of our email and to help us sort of with that. I find with email, it's like into one idea out, into next idea out, and we feel a little bit chaotic. This helps streamline our emails a little bit more. And that's creating rules. Okay. Again, all your screenshots are there. So I'm going to take a minute now and move on to, I said, it's not just emails. So in the last sort of half or a little bit less than last 20 minutes or so of our time here together, last third of our time, I want to talk a little bit about contacts, and I want to talk about the calendar. So let's start with contacts. If you want to create a new contact, it's pretty easy. You're going to go to the bottom of your screen. Let me come back in here. And we were in mail. You can see the mail icon there. I'm going to go over not to the calendar. We're going to skip that one, but I'm going to go to those two little people. And I'm going to click that. And these are all of my contacts. So here are my contacts. This is what we're doing. To create a new contact, you can just go to File, New Contact, or Command N. Boom, off to the races. Those are your contacts. Pretty easy stuff. The other thing that I find that people want to know is like, okay, well, what happens if I want to create a whole group of people? Like you see here, I have my administrators and their emails. In order to do that, that's called a contact list. So again, I'm going to be here. I'm going to make sure I'm on the home tab, and I'm going to do new contact list. And I can name the list here. So I can say my group. I can use BCC to hide the member information every time. So let's say you have a group of parents. You want to create an email distribution list for parents. You don't want them to necessarily see each other's emails, right? Privacy breach and such. So what we do is we hit that BCC. So every time you send to there, it'll automatically BCC everyone, which is great. So I can come in here and I can double click and I can start writing someone's name. And it picked up. We have another Cami. Look at that, Cami. So it will start reading through my own my directory. If that's not the Cami I want, I can also come in here and I could change this to like camik@gmail.com. That's not Cami's email, but she gets it. And then I can add my next person. I double click, I add the next person, and so on. I can also use the buttons up here to add and remove. And it's that simple. And then if I have someone, I'm like, oh, I want to remove them from this list, I can just click delete. Or sorry, I deleted her altogether, but I can individually delete them, and then I can delete the whole list. It's that simple, creating them. I know that the new contacts, when we're looking at creating groups, sometimes people are like, okay, how do I do this? And I find that one on the Mac isn't as straightforward as things often are on the Mac. But that's what you do. Make sure you click in, just read the sort of grayed out fonts, and you'll see it there. So I will invite you now to create a contact list of colleagues or people. It doesn't only have to be colleagues, you might do the parent one, that you email often. Might be 2, 3, someone you sit on a committee with, or maybe people in a department, or maybe it's just your friends you like to gossip with at work and you want to send funny memes to each other. I don't know, I'm not here to judge what you do on your work email, just use it appropriately, please. But you can go ahead and pause the video and you can give that a try.
Jen, our district likes to control the groups. So in my email world, we can't, the groups I can see, like I get the icon, but we don't have power to make groups because our district likes to control that. So that's too bad, because it is handy if you have a little group that you want to email often.
Yeah. So I do it because often I'm like, I want to write all admin, or I want to write everybody on this committee, or everyone in this department, or everyone, like even students. Like I have my RHHS Reads committee. So it's our, not committee, but club. It's like we're a book, we call it a book chat club. So we don't all read a book. We didn't start that this year. We decided we're just going to chat about books, and we bring a brick of cheese and we talk about what's on our TBR and what we're currently reading, and oh my gosh, this is really good. And then sometimes it's, we've all read this book, so we talk about that. It's quite lovely. But I wouldn't be able to function without that contact list, because I'd constantly have to be like, okay, who's in it again? Because it's a really fluid group. Like people sort of drop in for a month, so they're added to the list, and then they decide if they can come. So I love it for that. Okay, let's move on to our calendars. Calendar, of course, is really a functional part of Outlook. I used to live in my Outlook calendar a ton when I was at the district office. In a school day to day, we may not use it as much, but certainly, like Cami, I'm sure you live by your calendar with the nature of job that you have in your district. A couple of things that, in order to create an event and invite others, all you need to do is in your calendar, I'll go up to mine now, is you are going to come in here and you are going to either click appointments to create an appointment. Okay, that's that easy. It's pretty, simple. You click that and you can say, okay, I want to, this is going to be a group meeting and we're going to have this, the location, it might be on Teams, and we'll say it's virtual. And we're going to have this meeting, let's say tomorrow at 11 a.m. for 30 minutes. Sounds good. And in order to invite people, I just click that invite, and then the to field pops up. And you'll also notice that the Teams meeting, I could press that and it will automatically create that link for a Teams meeting, which is great. Other things you can do here is you can request a response. This is on by default. I find this funny in our district because we get them. And then when I used to invite people, I get all these emails back saying, yes, we can come, or no, we can't. You can turn that off just by clicking it. So, that way you don't get all those emails, and you can go in and check the list of invitees yourself, unless you want to hear from them. You can also allow people to propose another time. You can do a room finder if indeed you have this set up. I know we do in our district, some don't. And you can verify certain names. Dictate, we've seen all this. This is also another way to dictate instead of that double FN click. And then when I'm ready, so if I want to invite someone, so I wonder, can I invite myself to this? I think I can. Yeah, I can say send, and then it will, in a moment, get sent. Email sent, and I'll go back and I'll show you what that looks like.
Jen, once you put the invite in there, does the Mac version have the option where it'll show you what times you're available and that person? It's called Schedule Assistant.
Yeah, so Schedule Assistant, it is available in a Mac if people have shared their calendar with you. And I don't think, oh no, I do talk about it. So you know what, let's give a minute. Sorry. I'll get to that in 1 second. No, it's fine. It's totally fine. So I will invite you now to create a fun event and invite a colleague, right? It's a time of year where we might be feeling a little bit run down and like, oh God, I need a little pick me up. So maybe invite a colleague into your classroom for a coffee at some point this week. Give it a pause here in the video and you can go ahead and do that. We will move on to sharing your calendar. So Cami, what Cami was alluding to, I actually don't have set up in here, and I'll have to think a little bit about how to get that. But in order for you to see the scheduling calendar, what that looks like is it's like a grid where it shows, okay, these are the times I'm available on this day. And depending on the sharing permissions you have for other people you're inviting to this meeting, it will show if they're busy or they're free. In order for that to show, though, you need to share your calendar with other people so that they can view details about your schedule. So what does this look like? You go into, you click the calendar permissions, you click add user, and then you type a person's name. At that point, you're going to see this, what I'm showing you on the slide. So you can either choose that it's free, busy, time, location, or it could be they can't see anything. They can only see if you're free or busy, or it can see the full details, like where you are, who you're with, when you're coming back, all the stuff. So you're going to decide for yourself what it is. Now, depending on who you're sharing it with, I know on my old team, we shared time, subject, location. We didn't do like every detail, like that would include like information, any kind of details you might put in the info field. We just shared this one by default so that we would know, like, is this something like, are they actually busy at this time, or is this a meeting that they might be able to get out of, so we could plan easily. But that's how you can do that. And then from there, you'll be able to see once you create an event in the calendar, if their calendar is shared with you. Let me see if I can actually find that right now. If you create an event, I'm going to create another appointment. And if I invite, I'm going to invite someone else from work here. I'm going to invite my friend Shannon. And so if I go into scheduling, I think this is where, scheduling, what you'll see here is when I'm free and when Shannon's free. Now, in this case, it doesn't really show you anything because Shannon and I aren't using our calendar regularly because we're classroom teachers and I would just look at what she's teaching. But if you're someone that's moving around a lot, that is keeping a lot of meetings, administrators, special ed resource teachers, etc. I find a lot of non-classroom teachers. I tend to keep this in my Google Calendar because I use that one a lot more for what we do because our students are all on Google. They're not on Microsoft. And in booking our Learning Commons, that's where they are. So that's where I live. But in here, if it was all here, I would be able to see where Shannon is available when I am to be able to maybe pick a time instead of having that back and forth. So thanks for that reminder, Cami. Yeah, it's a great function of Outlook for sure. So going back to where we're almost at the end of our time together. I want to just talk before we finish to keyboard shortcuts. Now, like I said, I love myself a keyboard shortcut. You saw that Command, comma, gets me my preferences, use that all the time, Command N to open new stuff. But there are other things too here you can do. You can quickly add attachments by clicking when you are in a composed message. Command E. You can reply to everybody, Shift Command R, love that one, use it all the time. Forwarding is Command J. Why J? I have no idea. Why isn't it F? So F must be bookmarked for something else. I don't know what it is, but it's J in case you're like, this one doesn't work. It's F in every other program I use. It's J in this. You can toggle quickly between messages. You can also move things to folders. You can copy. This was another thing that I learned. Three things I learned in preparing this today. I always thought once I put something into a folder, it just could live in that folder. But when you think about things like OneDrive, when you think about things like Google Drive, what you can do is sometimes you can have it live in multiple places, and you can do that in Outlook. So you can copy an item to a folder. So instead of just moving it to your folder, Shift Command M, do Shift Command C. You can put it in two places. Why do I love this? Right now we're doing the literacy test, like I said earlier. I might want to keep anything from my vice principal in my admin folder because I like everything from admin there, so I have it in one spot. But I might want that specific one also in, boom, my OSSLT folder, so I can copy it to multiple places and then maybe just archive it, right? And then just have them sitting there. I love that so much. The other one that I love is being able to quickly go through things. So Command 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll show you what that looks like. I can toggle from here. I'm in my calendar now. Quickly, just by Command 1, I go over to my mail. Command 4, I go over to my tasks. That's another really quick way to toggle between all the different applications within Outlook itself. And if you're looking for a full list, right there on slide 36 that I'm pointing to, I almost wore that green sweater today. Wouldn't that have been funny if my Bitmoji and I were dressed exactly the same? Right now I'm in my black turtleneck, not my green turtleneck. But I can, you can click that and see a whole list of them. I only took out the ones that I find that I use often, or ones that were new to me that I thought were exciting. So be sure to check that out. So that leaves us at the 50-minute mark. If there's anyone that has any questions, you are more than welcome to ask them now in the chat, unmute and ask. If you're watching this after the fact, we do invite you to, I'll throw it to Cami to explain what you can do.
To fill out our feedback form, I've put that in the chat. We always like to collect feedback when we present information, just so we can know if we need to switch things up. Did we hit the things that you came with questions about? Were we able to answer your questions? And if you have any questions whatsoever, like I thought Jen showed me this and I can't find it in her screenshots, support is great at Cobblestone Collective. So help at cobblestonecollective.ca. It's on the slide deck. It's in the chat. You can always connect with someone at Cobblestone and get a response from a real human being in a short time.
Awesome. And with that, I think we are done. I don't see anything in the chat there that we need. I think we're done for the day. Thanks so much for joining us. I hope that you learned a thing or two that you can help you when you are using Outlook on your Mac. Take care, everyone. Thanks, Cami, for your support.
Bye-bye, everyone.